As we know, in Hong Kong, the people travel on the left side, while in mainland, we travel at the right-hand side. Therefore, if you travel from Hong Kong to the mainland, you will have to transfer from right side driving to left side driving to right side driving. And you need to get special license. If it's a private car, and you have to register license at both Guangdong and Hong Kong. Right now, the fee to travel on this bridge is 150 for private cars, and the ticket for the bus is 35, and at day and 58 at night, and half price for senior citizens or children with a height less than 1.2 meters or less than 12 years old. Here we are at the eastern artificial island of the bridge. At the far end, because it's a little foggy today, but if it's a sunny day, you can see this the west island over there. It's about 6.7 kilometers between these two islands, and you can not see the bridge between these two islands because from in between these islands there is a it's a tunnel tube connecting these two islands. And right now we see an airplane traveling, which is quite close to us. You can almost see the logo of the airline. Because here on this island, we're very close to HK International Airport. Now you can see clearly that the plane is descending. Therefore, the height of architecture nearby airport is strictly limited. That is no more than 88 meters. That is to say that to build this island, any part of the bridge cannot be over 88 meters. Here on the sea, you can see a lot of ships. This is a quite busy channel for the and in this area, you can see a lot of carriers.
For those capacity above 300,000 tons, its own height could be 70 meters and also 80 meters wide. For such large-sized ship to cross over, then our bridge must have long spanning and also larger height. Almost every minute, we will see one airplane taking off across this area. After all, Hong Kong Airport is one of the busiest airports in the world. So with the channels and the flight routes, our bridge has to be built in between. The only choice for us is to dig such a tunnel underwater. You could imagine the difficulties of such construction work. It could go as deep as 46 meters underwater with huge water pressure. Any leaking of seawater in the tunnel would cause catastrophic damages to this tunnel. And that is a proof of the super project of this bridge. Now let's walk along the eastern artificial island. In our camera, you could see some stones lying along the beach. It's just like the seals. There are a lot of those stones. They are placed here without any order. Those stones are put here to serve as the moles to fend off any flood. Some netizens said that the digs used to be flooded by those tides, but that's not true. We could see with our eyes. Some of the stones immersed underwater are also supposed to be a buffer zone between the bridge and the seawater. They look quite lovely with so many stones. It reminds me of some seafood. After the opening of this bridge, Eastern Artificial Island may be of highest relevance to our common people because Eastern Artificial Island was designated to be open to tourists and visitors. That's why we will see some recreational facilities or even some tariff-free shops to be opened on this island. That's why Eastern Artificial Island is called the service area offshore. This could be said the most beautiful. I believe this island would be taken in of photos, and this is a picture park here with 2 stories of parking lots that can accommodate about 7 cars. If we keep walking, we'll arrive on the eastern part of this player deck. After getting out of this tunnel, and we keep walking, 100 meters, we will enter the region of Hong Kong. If you look at that mountain in the distance, that's called the Lantau mountain in Hong Kong. You may have heard of this mountain. This mountain has been shot a lot in the movies made in Hong Kong. It's a very famous resort, particularly for those outdoor frames in those movies. Also, since Hong Kong is very small, to have such a big mountain located in a small piece of land that's very rare. That's why this mountain is home to a lot of plants and animals. If you have the opportunity, you can visit and take a photo together with the Lantau mountain. And let's keep walking. At the foot of the hill, we will see the bridge and the tunnel. That white seating in our camera is the top of this tunnel. If you get the tunnel and keep walking for 100 meters, that's going to be Hong Kong. In front of Lantau Mountain, there is a curve of this bridge. Previously, I read some comments by the netizens that they are aspiring to walk along this bridge once in their lifetime. They could feel the magnificence of this Lantau mountain, and if we keep walking to the north and take a turn at the foot of the hill, we will arrive at Hong Kong International Airport. After, especially maybe tomorrow, there will be some direct bus. And there is one line reaching Disneyland in Hong Kong, and the toll is about several hundred RMB yuan. You could arrive directly at the airport from mainland China. And also this area of the ocean is much clearer than the water in the other areas because it's at the estuary of the Zhujiang River. And you may have observed some ships operating on the ocean. They are actually now constructing the third runways of Hong Kong Airport. Hong Kong Airport is very busy with one airplane taking off every 1 minute. That's why they are building some more runways. When this runway is finished, the airplanes landing on this piece of airport may be closer to our bridge. If you stand on this artificial island, you could directly see an airplane landing. And above the fourth floor is the fifth floor. The fifth floor is home to some air conditioners and other ventilation equipment. When I first come up on this floor, I was intrigued by this structure. What does it look like? It's just like it's also a triangular structure for the lighting with glass structure. And also right under this floor, there is an exhibition hall. There are a collection of some major pictures capturing the valuable moments of this bridge construction history. And if you're lucky and you stand this way, you would see some white dolphins because this estuary area is a preserve zone for white dolphins in China. I haven't seen those dolphins before. I've only saw them in those documentaries. They're very beautiful. They're called the panda under the ocean. And today we have stronger winds at about 4 to 5th magnitude. So you could see some waves. Now you see the Linding water, a poet in South Song Dynasty called Wen Tianxiang used to walk passing by the Linding area, and he put this location in one of his poems. Today, when we pass by this region, we may feel awed by this area again, even though we have a different feeling from that famous poet, because he used to be held in custody when he suffered. And today, when we cross by this area, we will feel the greatness of this era, offering us such a spectacular view. We could see a lot of airplanes crossing by. If you want to fly to Hong Kong, right before the airplane lands, you could have a bird's view of this bridge. And also, we are seeing more ships sailing over. This eastern artificial island is about 100,000 square meters, and you could walk around almost half of this artificial island. After the opening of the eastern artificial island, this floor where I am standing is not going to be open to the visitors because there are a lot of equipment here. I don't know what is this architecture used for. We have climbed up there. You could take a photo together with those landing airplanes. Now we are standing in the northern part of the eastern artificial island, and if you take a look from here, from this angle, you would have a clearer view of the ships and the airplane. That is why we say the overland, the maritime, and airway transportation could be seen together in one picture. The logo of this airplane seems quite familiar. Let's move this way. Around this island, we are seeing a lot of those stones. They are used for buffering, serving as a cushion between the sea and the bridge. The comments about those flooded stones might not be built as part of this mall. And also the stones are in different sizes and in different shapes. They are placed in different directions. After all, when the waves hit, the waves will not flood in the same direction. That's why the stones are not placed in the same direction. Those are the exhibition halls. Some of them are empty rooms. In the future, these rooms might be used as cafeteria or entertainment places. Some of the bus from Zhuhai port crossing by the HZMB bridge and then arrive here and then take a turn back from the artificial island. This morning, we have launched the opening ceremony of this Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge. At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, this bridge is going to be officially opened and put into operation. If you have bought the bus ticket for tomorrow morning, then you may wait for that moment. Now let's get back to the start where we began this show.
At the far end, we can see a very big cargo ship. From where I'm standing, this is what we can see, but if you can take a bird view, this island looks a lot like a gigantic ship floating on the ocean and pointing towards the island of Hong Kong. So it's designed to be similar to a deck of the ship. At the exhibition hall, we see a sinking hall. When we are traveling through this tunnel, we are actually travel through within this hall. This island resembles one gigantic iron barrel, and it is constructed on the sea base, and then it has broken a lot of records. It was constructed and completed within a year. All of the constructive workers building this bridge are the top structures, top institute for construction of China. They have their own bidding here at this project. They have a lot of experiences, and through in the process of construction, a large cohort of engineers and construction workers were cultivated. This is the longest deep immersed tunnel tube in the world and was unprecedented. So before the construction, we are quite inexperienced, and at the time we heard that a certain country is building a similar tunnel, and we wanted to learn from them, but they forbade us from coming and saying that this is a secret. And we consulted with them about the purchase of the technological transfer, and their offer was their quote was 150 million USD, and that was too expensive for us, so we gave up and plan to do our own. You can imagine how many difficulties we encountered and overcome to make this happen. We have a lot of resources and a lot of innovation in the product construction. The part what I'm pointing is the Western Island, and between these two islands is the undersea tunnel of the HZMB Bridge. Another airplane is descending and about to land. Our reporter at the Western Island is still running some tests of the devices. So here we are still at the Eastern Island, and we have explored every direction of this island. And our cameraman suggested that we come up there, but I think that way would be a bit dangerous. So for safety reasons, we will not go up there. And from here, we can still see a lot of ships, big and small. Some of them are cargo ships, some are passenger ships. This is quite a busy route for traveling on the ocean. When the is finished, we can have a different view of this bridge. Our viewers said you have to once in through this. and the speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. And on the lamppost, you can see some of the loudspeakers warning you not to stop on the way. So if you please pay attention to these some people said they saw dolphins at this region because the weather is too foggy. Probably didn't see any dolphin. To answer some of your questions, first is said about driving, right side driving. In the mainland, we drive on the left side of the car, and if you travel to Hong Kong, and some professionals will help you to change to right side driving. So don't worry. There are a lot of very experienced drivers who are very used to driving from back and forth Guangdong and HK. So the fee is for sedans is 150 per, and for cars for trucks 115. And for who travel by buses, it is 53 per person a day and 58 per person at night. The half price for senior citizens, for children under 1.2 meters or 2 years old. The express shuttle from HK Airport to Disneyland. That is introduction. It's this sightseeing belt and sightseeing on this island. A lot of tourists would and is open to public. This is a 4-story construction. We are now at the 5th floor. A lot of installation equipment. So be a service for and do some pictures. This is the ideal location for you because view. The western island, after it is open, passengers were not allowed to stay up that island because it is used as a working area with some surveillance system and security system there. That its function is quite different from the eastern island. As you can see, we have great reception on my cell phone. And I almost received a welcoming message from China Mobile saying that I'm at Hong Kong territory. And we have taken a look at the eastern island. And our porter on the Western Island is also ready because the Western Island, as I said, is not open to the public. So this is one of the rare opportunities for you to visit the Western Island. And that's it for the introduction of Eastern Island. Good afternoon, dear viewers. I'm Zhang Lei with CCTV. I'm right now on the bridge of Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge. I will take over my colleague. I'm right now at the Western Island, Western Artificial Island for the bridge. This is the part of the Western Island. This island is about 100,000 square meters. It takes a long time to walk from one end to another. Different from Eastern Island, this Western Island is mainly for staff, and it's a working area. After this bridge is officially open, there will be offices, there will be rescue ships and rescue vehicles, and road maintaining personnel will be working here. And we can say that this is the control center on the ocean for this bridge. And we are right now building a live broadcast system here. At about 4 o'clock, we will be live broadcasting to you through this channel.
Later, we're gonna broadcast the main system. We could see a lot of CCTV trucks with their equipment already in place to videotape this bridge. This is our major vehicle carrying some key facilities. But of course, this is not gonna be the signal source of this APP. And this is Mr. Wei Yi. Mr. Wei, could you please introduce to us about what CCTV has done on the same day of the bridge opening? Mr. Wei, how many personnel did CCTV dispatch? This time, our live broadcasting team is composed of 100 personnel because Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge is the longest cross-sea bridge in the world. That's why live broadcasting would be very difficult. There may be the requirement of some special equipment. That's why our live broadcasting team has dispatched several personnel in different locations like Eastern Island, Western Island, and also the Supreme point on the bridge. We have some personnel treating the signals. And also on the surface of the ocean, there is one ship carrying our personnel, live broadcasting the bridge from the angle of the sea. And as to the commanding center is located in this Western Artificial Island. For example, this vehicle. This vehicle is going to be our major commanding center. All of the signals from different locations would be sent back to this vehicle, and then we will transfer that signal to the live broadcasting rooms in Beijing. So this vehicle is the major one. Also, we have some power generation vehicle and satellite signal treatment vehicles. In total, I think this Western Artificial Island could be said as the headquarters of our live broadcasting team today. Tomorrow morning, since we will have the customs clearance ceremony for the bridge, so there will be live broadcasting at the different locations arranged previously. As to the broadcasting team in the Eastern Artificial Island, we will have some vehicles sent from Hong Kong, and in Eastern Artificial Island, we will see how the vehicles will pass by this bridge from Zhuhai to Hong Kong. So this time, the live broadcasting of CCTV will cover different lines and different points of this Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge. There will be a reporter from CCTV almost everywhere along this bridge. So we will showcase the news and the updates on these 2 days. How about we enter into this live broadcasting room later? Now they are preparing for the live broadcasting, so let's just take a snapshot of what it looks like within these vehicles. For those professionals in the sector of broadcasting and journalism, you must be very familiar with this environment. Now we are walking in this vehicle. We are getting on board. I will not enter more into this room in case I interfere with their work. That is our director, the leader of this team. He is walking around to commission all of those equipment. I will not go further. Mr. Lee is our head of this broadcasting. He's waving to us. He would be responsible for this whole broadcasting. And also Mr. Qi Bing is next to him, and also our administrators. They're saying hello to you. They're making some last resort attempts for the preparation of this broadcasting. Here, this screen on the wall is receiving some signals. After introducing our CCTV arrangement for this live broadcasting, next, I will take you to have some information about the Western Artificial Island. This is going to be the first look of this island. Previously, Mr. Wei introduced to us that in the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge, live streaming would be rather difficult. To be honest, I have 3 years of experience of interviewing or broadcasting on the bridge. This is the first time for me to endure so many difficulties because there is no signal right now. The bridge now is opened, so the signal around this area would be stable. China Unicom, China Telecom, and China Mobile, the 3 big operators, could have access to the signals around the bridge. But when the bridge was still under construction, whenever we entered this tunnel or the bridge area, I would lose contact with all others. There used to be no signal here. Now let's enter the monitoring center. There is a logo here. It is called Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge Monitoring Center, also called Authority Monitoring Center. This is the commanding center or the headquarters of this bridge. This is the monitoring center room. It looks quite cool. Here on the wall, hundreds of cameras are taking shots. And those screens are only part of the whole monitoring system. In the construction phase, there were in total 500 cameras taking shots of the situations in every spot of the bridge, and they could send those signals real time to this commanding center. If there is any incident or problem, or there is any assignment from this commanding or monitoring center, they would have timely support. So during the construction phase, we have full coverage of information. Any vehicle, once they get on this bridge, they could be monitored by those cameras. And there are a lot of information from this screen. For example, this one. This is the main part of the bridge. This is the time point. This is the location about what section is it in the bridge. It says it's leading to Hong Kong from Macau and Zhuhai. So the right lane here is leading to Hong Kong. If it is a vehicle driving from Hong Kong to Zhuhai or Macau, it's going to be from the other side. So those cameras could have 24/7 monitoring of the bridge situation in order to guarantee safety. If there is need of any service, our monitoring center would have timely knowledge. Just now, we interviewed and broadcast from the outside of this Western artificial island. And here we are also looking at the same Western artificial island from this camera. We are now in this room. We are in the first floor of this room in this camera. In total, this center has 4 floors. And as to the area of the Western artificial island, it's about 100,000 square meters. Those are the moles fending off the waves. Those moles could function as the cushioning area of the waves. Why do we need an artificial island? If you have any idea about this Macau bridge, you would know that this artificial island is quite close to the bridge. This is the bridge area, and that is the island. And in between, you will see the entrance of the underwater tunnel. Western artificial island is going to be the first stop. Starting from this section, our cars or buses would enter the underwater tunnel. So the artificial island could be said as the joint between the bridge and the tunnel. Through the artificial island, our vehicle could enter the underwater tunnel, which is as long as about 6 kilometers. And you could see that we have large space in this monitoring room. Here is the machine for the live broadcasting. I will receive and send out the signals through this camera. Later, you will have a snapshot of the pictures taken by this camera. This artificial island is for a lot of functionalities. Now, after this island is put into operation, it's not going to be open to the public, so our visitors can never board on this island. That's why I'm going to give you a lot of details about this island. 3 years ago, actually it's 4 years ago, that was my first time to come on this island. This island has a lot of highlights. First of all, about the architecture and the buildings on this Western artificial island. Interestingly, many of those islands are quite high-rising. Our netizens may not feel that way. And as to the main color of this island and the buildings, they look quite gray. This is a column made of cement, but it's not a usual and commonplace cement. It's actually a concrete. It feels like the stone, the marble, and it is made with the most cutting-edge philosophies and technologies. If you touch it, it feels exactly like the marble. It feels quite smooth. And also it's environmental friendly because it is put in place once and for all through the modules. All of the buildings will be built with this material. What is the strength of such a material? With the bare concrete, you don't need more for refurbishing or interior decoration anymore. It's just decorated once with this concrete. Another strength about the concrete is in the downstream of the Zhujiang estuary. This area used to be heavily polluted. Years ago, when I interviewed this area, some steel structure which may have rusts. And if you put the steel here in this area for 1 week, they will go rusted. So traditionally, if you use some conventional materials like the bricks, they would fall off very quickly, and you will have to go through another round of maintenance and refurbishment. So that's why bare concrete is the best option for the buildings in those two artificial islands. Also, the western artificial island has 4 stories. Let's take the elevator upstairs. Today marks the first day of the opening of Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge, and all the personnel are quite excited about it. You could see the rooms have been cleaned, and since this artificial island is used for many daily operations, that's why there are a lot of conference rooms and office buildings on the island. For example, this one.
This is the monitor center for the bridge, from which you can see a lot of live images of the bridge. Ahead of us is a small conference room. The personnel can gather here to have meetings. As you can see, this is a map of the bridge. Let's take this opportunity to have an introduction of this bridge. Its total length is about 55 kilometers, including the connecting routes and leading bridge. And the most difficult part for construction, and the part that attracts most attention, is this part. Just outside this, the Zhuhai port, this part of the bridge are constructed over the ocean. And this section is about 29 kilometers long, all constructed above water. And after 29 kilometers, we'll take you to the western island, which we are in now. And here, this part is undersea tunnel between these two islands. At westernmost end is Macau and Zhuhai custom, and there is a connecting route leading to Macau and another connecting route to Zhuhai. And this leading bridge would also be connected to the highway of Zhuhai. So really, this bridge connects the three locations, Hong Kong, Macau, and Zhuhai. After the eastern island, there will be another several kilometers of bridges before we reach the Hong Kong port. If you travel by bus, you can get off here, and there's a lot of connecting buses going to different locations of Hong Kong. At Zhuhai Port, you can also take the express bus going directly from Zhuhai to Hong Kong. Another bus travels directly from Zhuhai to Hong Kong International Airport. So from this map, you can see that it is so splendid and so difficult to construct. It takes 14 years to complete this project. That is from the establishment of this project to the final accomplishment of this project. So the total construction stage takes 9 years. And you can imagine the hardships and setbacks that the workers went through. There were a lot of reports and headlines on the news. You are probably quite familiarized with the technical details. There are a lot of firsts, a lot of number ones, and this is also considered the mega project, one of the biggest projects in the world. We really owe our thanks to the construction workers. Every time I came here, I felt really tired because when the bridge was not open, you have to come here by walking or by boats. Right now, it only takes us about 23 minutes to drive from the port to this island. But in the past, it would take me more than 2 hours, almost 3 hours, to travel on a cargo ship, an engineering ship, to come here, with a lot of equipment on board. And it takes 2 to 3 hours. And if you have motion sickness, it will be a disaster, a nightmare for you. Now let's go to the highest point of the Western Artificial Island, also the spot with the best view across this bridge. The Western Bridge is located at the center of the Lingdingyang. It is far from any continent, but it's also the central point of the bridge that makes it easy for you to travel to any part of the bridge. Now let's take a route to go to the terrace. It has a great view. This is a very big installation here. This is not working right now. This is an emergency ventilation system of the bridge. This is not used for the main bridge, but for the undersea tunnel. Because this will be an enclosed space in the tunnel, once an accident happened or fire breaks out in the tunnel, it will be it will be very difficult, and it might constitute some risk for the person trapped underneath. Under such a circumstance, this ventilation channel will be transporting fresh air to the personnel trapped under the tunnel. And you might find the same equipment at the eastern island. I came here a lot, so I'm familiarized with this route. But if you come here for the first or second time, it will be much more difficult for you to discover this route. We're right now at one of the working spaces. And we will be also broadcasting to you through our satellite channels a while later. Now we're on the fourth floor, and one more flight of stairs we will be reaching the terrace, which has the best view of the bridge.
过了这道门，就是西人工岛的高点天台了。大家跟我们出来看一看。
Right now, we are reaching the terrace of the island.
怎么样？这个地方的视线是不是非常的好？这个地方呢，就是
Has a great view, isn't it?
怎么样？这个地方的视线是不是非常的好？这个地方呢，就是港珠澳大桥西人工岛的高点，当然不是最高点，上面还有一个高点，但是
This is the highest point
大家看
of the bridge.
是不是很近？
You can see airplanes traveling by.
因为啊，这个地方是
Almost, you can feel that it's within a touch of your hands.
东北侧就是香港国际机场，所以说呢，
At the northeastern side of us is the Hong Kong International Airport.
分钟一班。当然了，
You can see a lot of flights coming in and out almost every minute.
这个飞机有关，我不知道刚才李宁，我们的同事李宁有没有
And the construction of this bridge has a lot to do with the existence of the airport. And my colleague probably have explained this to you because near the airport we have a very severe restraint of the height of the structures surrounding it.
要修很大很大的桥，必须要架很高很高
So
的塔，因为有塔。
at the same time, you cannot interrupt with the traveling routes on the ocean, so that this bridge has to be long and it has to avoid these main channels and also would not interfere with the taking off and landing of the planes.
穿过这个伶仃洋的主航道。
That's why
地对航道没有
we have to build the bridge and
粤港澳三地的陆路连接，
to turn part of the bridge into a tunnel so as to not interfere with the traveling both on air and on water.
就在我们的正前方，也就是西侧，就是
I think that's quite a genius move.
也就是澳门和珠海的方向西侧。
At the west part is the direction of Macau and Zhuhai. Today, the weather is a bit foggy. On a sunny day, however, you can have a splendid view from my perspective.
最高也是最漂亮的一个，我最喜欢中国。
And you can almost see the highest significant signature structure over there, the Chinese knot.
要通过大桥，或者说从实现桥
From this end, you can also see the entrance of the bridge.
从珠海和澳门的
All of the vehicles who intended to travel through this bridge would have to go through this entrance.
我们的右侧。
And vehicles going from HK to mainland will be travel on this side.
其中有一个机位呢，在今天下午呢，就在这个位置，也是由我来在这里完成直播报道。
In the afternoon, we will also be covering some of the reports from where I'm standing.
那今天呢
Another plane is coming over.
是通车，所以呢，有很多媒体的朋友都到了现场。
Today marks the official opening of the HZMB Bridge. We have a lot of colleagues from other media to join us to report on this manifest.
是不是很近？其实啊，在东岛的时候，这个飞机更近，你看，就在我们上空，非常的漂亮。
It's right above our head.
我们这个所在的这个地方啊，大家看，我们现在就已经到达了这个西人工岛的平台上，顶端平台上，远处呢。
We are right now standing at the terrace of the
左手边
Western Island.
能见度不好了，今天就是香港的大屿山。
We are in the midst of Lingding Ocean, and at the left-hand side is the Lantau mountain of Hong Kong, and in front of us
当然呢，这个地方呢，
is the the tunnel, the undersea tunnel of the project, and it is also the main traveling route of Lingding Ocean. On daily basis, more than 4,000 cargoes would travel through this route. It totals 4,000, but also the depth of the water can accommodate cargo ships of more than 300,000 tons of capacity on it. We can see some mid-sized cargo ship at the far end and some big-size cargo ships. I think it should have a capacity of about 13,000 tons. So this is the main shipping line of Lingding Ocean. Another plane is flying over. At the far end of our lens is the eastern island. The distance from east to western island is about 6.7 kilometers. Today the visibility is not quite ideal, so
our other reporter is ready for the next broadcasting. He will broadcast from that place. He will videotape the eastern artificial island from that angle. That's the major navigation channel of Lingdingyang. This material is also the bare concrete. It's very different from the usual walls. They are very clean. I prefer this kind of material. The other reporter, Mr. Huan Wei, is standing from the top of this building. This could be said as the highest and also the best angle for videotaping. We had a signal problem. I will repeat. If you look up, we're back online. Sorry for the poor signal. I just bragged about the signal here, but there are still some problems. To clarify why the signal is poor here, there used to be no signal before, but now since the bridge is opened, 3 carriers in China already had their signal coverage, but still, sadly, not very far from here, it is Hong Kong. So at this place, we could also receive signals from some carriers in Hong Kong and also from Macau signals. That's why this place is like the clustering area with a lot of signals. That's why there may be some poor signal situation. So I will continue my broadcasting. Still, if you look up, you will see Mr. Huang Wei standing up. That is the highest point of this bridge for people to stand on. That's also one of the major points of our broadcasting in this round from CCTV, and our reporter is already there. You could just climb up from those stairs. The scenery would be much more beautiful from that angle, but with the strong winds, the signal might be poor there, so I will not walk up. Just now, a cargo ship is sailing quite nearer to us. The main channel of Lingdingyang usually is flooded with a lot of ships, and particularly very big ships. If you compare those cargo ships with the usual ships, you will see the big size of them. Now, we're watching the cargo ship sailing along this channel from far. And there is one bigger ship from there. On our left, there is one big cargo ship. If we zoom in, you would observe the comparison between the ships. It's very big. In the construction phase of the bridge, I have paid visit to the Western Artificial Island for several times. I remember that right before the beginning of a year I came here, there were a lot of personnel coming from across the nation for this mega project. And usually those personnel have to be stationed here for as long as 5 to 10 years. The working environment here is quite harsh. You have to know that the artificial island is still offshore. We are building this island artificially. That's quite hard. How can we build this artificial island? It's a complex process. To put it simply, I will give you some information about how it's built. If you find it quite difficult to understand, you're more than welcome to ask questions. There are several steps. Usually, for the first step, we will build 120 steel cylinders. Those steel cylinders are very big in size and very tall. After finishing the steel cylinders in a construction base, we will transport those cylinders here to this island. Traditionally, a lot of ships would carry those sands and stones to a specific destination and then unload those materials until that there will be a pile of stones and sands that can form an island. Such a traditional method is quite expensive and also consume much manpower. That's also going to be damaging to the local ecology. Lingdingyang is home to white dolphins. That is the inhabited areas of white dolphins. So such a traditional method of building an island is not acceptable. That's why we would firstly manufacture this 120 steel cylinders And then we take those cylinders to this area. If those cylinders are put in place, they will encircle an area, and then we put those materials in those circled areas. Then this artificial island would take shape, and after that we will have some post process for the engineers and workers. They have taken several years to build this artificial island, so many thanks to those hardworking workers. At the moment, today, when the bridge is finally opened, I think that is quite a relief to you. So, greetings to the workers. That's all for my part. Thank you. Now let's continue the broadcasting. My name is He Yanke from CCTV. Quite a pleasure to keep covering the HZMB for you. At 1 o'clock, together with Shi Yu, we have covered the immigration hall. We have broadcasted how those visitors from Zhuhai to Hong Kong shall take their bus, and then my colleague from Western and Eastern artificial islands have also given some briefing about this bridge. Now we are back at this port of Zhuhai. I am now standing from the opposite side of the Zhuhai port. By that it means after customs clearance. The visitors, after finishing the customs clearance, they would take bus, whether cross-boundary bus or private vehicles or the freight cars. They would start from that area. And then we will come to the toll station of the bridge. It looks like a typical toll station. Usually, they would start their journey from this toll station and then drive towards the Hong Kong port at about 50 kilometers. This toll would be the only toll station on the bridge. If you want to go to Hong Kong, you have to pay for the charge first, and then after crossing over the bridge, you will arrive at Hong Kong. But what is the toll charge? To give an example, for the private cars, every car will have to pay 150 RMB yuan per time. If it is freight vehicles, it's about 60 RMB yuan per vehicle. Why is the freight charge cheaper than the private cars? That's because the bridge is encouraging passengers to take public transportation like the buses to come to Hong Kong. Another point is that the bridge has its major function as the services offered to the freight for the logistics concerns. So if the transportation charge is too high, that's not a favorable condition for freight flow between Hong Kong and Zhuhai and Macau. As to the payment channels, that's one other key issue concerned by our passengers. If you have ETC, you do not have to stop here. You could just directly cross by this toll station, like the highway toll station. If not, you could pay by WeChat or the MasterCard or the Union Pay or cash. But it has to be RMB yuan. at every lane. Usually, if it is the mainland toll station, the glasses and the windows are usually open to only one side, mainly opening their windows to the drivers. But it's different from here, because the drivers may be sitting on the left or on the right. If it is in Hong Kong, then the drivers may be more accustomed to driving and sitting on the left. That's why the windows would be open from both sides, wherever you're sitting in the car. You could just find your favorite side for payment. You don't have to reach over one seat to pay. So that's the basic situation about the toll station. The lights are all on. Today, even it's the opening day, it's not in operation yet. That's why you're seeing the red lights on, meaning not in operation right now. Tomorrow, those toll stations would be open to the visitors. I believe most vehicles will have ETC for express pass, and otherwise they will utilize those digital channels for payment. At 4 o'clock today, there will be one big program in CCTV. I will take this bus in the streaming. Today, our netizens have seen such a bus at different hours in different programs. This bus has its history. It is specifically designed and made for our CCTV broadcasting today. Speaking of that, some background information. In the future, for the buses running on the bridge will be 2 double-deck buses. And usually those buses would be electric vehicles. That's very environmental friendly. Like we said before, in the rush hours, we would have one bus every 5 minutes or even 4 minutes. This bus will be slower. After all, we have a task of taking you through this bridge. That's why we will drive slowly. And one more important thing is that on the second floor of this bus, if you sit in front, you will see a special arrangement. We have a mobile showroom. There are a table and 2 chairs, so I could sit with our interviewee. For the many important places in the bridge, we will ask our experts about the interesting stories of those places in the bridge. What are the technical background of those places? Later, I will take you in this bus.
Before we go into the double-decker, we will take a look at this car. This is a very special vehicle. It is what we call a mobile live broadcast car. It's an SUV. On top of it, we install these shelves with very high-end equipment. This car will follow the double-decker, and sometimes it will travel at the front, at the back, or left and right side of the decker. So what is this car called? I apologize for the signal breakdowns. Usually during a marathon, you would see this follow-up cameras, and that is done through vehicles like this. And right now we are operating this this machine. This gyroscope, it is to control the frequency of the camera so as to stabilize the lens. During the the movement of the cars, it will be inevitable that the cameras will shake and shudder, but with the control of the gyroscope, the lens of the camera will remain stable. So this vehicle will be following our double-decker, but it's more agile than our double-decker and will be traveling alongside us. Taking a shot beside us. Thank you for your support, and we will travel together later. And they are still running some tests right now. There are a lot of equipment installed in this vehicle. This is the mobile live broadcast vehicle. This is quite fancy because our double-decker is quite well designed. Therefore, we have to have another set of cameras to take shots at us. We're still doing some preparation. Our live broadcast on the big screen will begin at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And now let's go inside the double-decker to see the interior design. This is different from what you thought, right? We kept the few rows of the the seats, but at the front end, the only thing you can see are the equipment and the cameras. Our colleagues will be here to talk to the central studio in Beijing, and also will be talking to me, the moderator, on the second floor, giving command in our earphones, and this is for the job of the producers and directors at the control room. Now let's go on to the second floor. We have a very important guest with us on the second floor. This is the chief engineer, Mr. Su of the HZMB Bridge, a very esteemed engineer. Now let's first take a look at the second floor before we begin our interview. All of the chairs and seats are taken out. This is what we see as moderators sitting here. This lighting situation here is quite good. It's very bright, but sometimes it will make it more difficult for us to do the shot. This is the mobile studio for us, with a very big window at the back of us. So with the movement of the vehicle, we will have a great view, and our guest will also be introducing to you some information of the bridge. You've been on this project for many years, so please say hello to our viewers first. Hello everyone, I'm the chief engineer of the HZMB Bridge. You must have a lot to share with our audience. So some of the initial questions for you. First, Macau and Hong Kong are right rudder, while the mainland is left rudder. So how would we do the transfer? It's quite easy technically. All on this bridge, we would follow the mainland rules when entering Macau and Hong Kong territory. We would use a cross bridge to make the transfer. So on the full extension of the bridge, you just remember to drive on the right side. Will be okay. But is it possible to make a turn at the center of the bridge? At the center of a bridge, we would have this buffer zone. Every 5 kilometers, there will be a buffer zone, a mobile buffer zone, or an exit for you. In a case of an emergency, with the help of traffic police and road workers, the barrier can be removed, and then you can travel to the opposite direction. In case of an emergency, the barrier to the buffer zone can be removed, but at normal situation, if you travel on the road, it's suggested that you stay on one direction. On the eastern island, there will be a service station, a service area, providing some food and beverages to the drivers. And on the eastern island, there is also a bridge and an exhibition hall and service area. If you don't want to go to Hong Kong, you can take a rest and do some sightseeing at the eastern island and turn back to Zhuhai. If you stayed with us, you might already had a sneak peek of the eastern island, and later we'll have another chance to go to the eastern island with Mr. Su. So the HZMB Bridge is a mega project that connects the bridges, tunnels, and artificial island. Let's talk about the bridge first. There are 3 world-renowned bridges, that is the Fengfan Ta Bridge, the Haitun Ta Bridge, and the Chinese Knot, crossing different shipping lanes. People might wonder why there is a bridge above the bridge. So normally when we're building this cross-sea bridge, there will be only one bridge. But when the extension is this big, there are several shipping lanes, some natural shipping lanes that has to be left undisturbed. Therefore, on some sections, we need to build higher bridges. And you cannot just apply normal construction technologies on this. You have to use the suspension structures so as to increase the extension of the bridge. And also another function is to facilitate the traveling of big cargo ships on the sea. We also have a very big bridge above the tunnel. So why do we have to have a tunnel if we already have a bridge? Why do we have to build an undersea tunnel? At the Pearl River estuary, there are many big factories. For example, there is an oil drilling platform. If we want to build a bridge, it will come in the way of these drilling platforms. Therefore, we have to take into consideration these industries. Another consideration is the airport. The requirement of the surrounding area of airport stipulates that we cannot construct a structure that is too high so as to constitute a risk for the plane, for the landing and taking off of the planes. So there has to be a limit of height. But if you travel underseas, it will not disturb the water transport and the transport on the air. For bridges, for ships, they can still travel here. I mean, the ship with the capacity of less than 10,000 tons of capacity. So the building of the tunnel is under the consideration of no disturbance to the shipping lanes on the sea. And this tunnel is constructed in between these two artificial islands. So the building of these artificial islands must be challenging, right? Yes, they are quite different than your traditional artificial island. It connects a bridge at one side and tunnel at the other side. That would be very high, that will give a very high requirement to the construction. And because the activities of the hurricanes and typhoons, it will be a lot more difficult for us to construct these artificial islands. But it turns out to be quite good after our efforts, and both of the islands are finished within a year. You can see very big cylinders sticking into the ocean, separating the seawater, and this is to build the artificial island and so as to stabilize these islands. So, can it stand typhoons or hurricanes? It can stand wind up to 16 levels and earthquakes up to 8 degrees. On this island, we use the special technologies using gigantic tunnel tubes, and after we put down the tubes, we connect them together. This idea was invented more than 100 years ago by the Europeans. It will be difficult to construct undersea tunnels, so people came up with the idea of constructing these big tubes at the factories and then just sink them into the ocean and connect them into tunnels.
You joined this project team in 2004, and the bridge was officially constructed since 2009. Before 2009, many models and plans must be mature enough for the kickstart of the construction. I heard there has been ups and downs in the planning phase. How did you come out of those difficulties? For the bridge, we haven't done such a sea-based bridge project before above the Lindinyang area, so we have bumped into a lot of new situations. There are also engineering difficulties. Some of those technologies were never applied before. What methodologies or equipment are mature enough for their application in the project? Such a choice would be rather hard. You have to do your study one by one. Otherwise, the foreigners would take our place. And during the construction, if there is any infeasibility, it would be just a failure. Underwater, the steel enhancement structure may take like 120 years. But we don't have such experience of taking 120 years to finish such an underwater steel structure. Europe used to take like 6 to 7 years to complete a model of that structure. In 2008, there is one counseling company from Europe asking us, in your environment, can you make such a model like ours? Back then,
we were quite worried about our insufficiencies. That's why we gather a lot of experts and we dig into the 20 or 30 years of data collection, and then finally we could build such a model underwater. And finally we name it the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao model, even better than the European one. That's fantastic. The Chinese wisdom really did its bit. We have shortened the construction time with the same quality model. This is about the end of my part of reporting. If you want to keep tuned from 4 o'clock, we are going to have special reporting of the HZMB. See you then.
我叫朱义祥，是一名路桥工程师。在港珠澳大桥建造的9年里，我全程参与了主体工程的建设工作。同时，在这9年间，我也把家从湖南搬到了珠海。今天，我要带大家穿越港珠澳大桥，一览这座让我们大桥人为之骄傲的超级工程。眼前我们到达的是大桥的收费站，这里有20条车道。 车牌识别速度最快，使用0.3秒，真正做到了缴费不停车。港珠澳大桥是粤港澳3地首次合作共建的超级跨海工程，它全长55公里，包括海中桥隧主体工程和粤港澳3地连接线工程。其中主体工程全长29.6公里，有3座通航孔桥、2座人工岛以及连接人工岛的海底隧道。 这里看到的双塔结构就是九洲航道桥，它高达114米，设计理念是一个风帆的形状，寓意着扬帆远航。每天都有很多船只在这里通过。大家看，这段桥有些弧度，这是因为我们经过多年的调查，摸清了海洋不同的流向，特别将桥梁设计成与海流方向垂直，这样就能减少水流对桥墩的影响。 现在我们行驶在江海直达船航道桥上，到达这里就进入中华白海豚的自然保护区。在施工的这几年里，我们经常可以看到白海豚跃出水面。为了减少对白海豚的影响，我们不断优化设计方案，限定海面作业范围，缩短作业时间，实现大桥通车，白海豚不搬家。你看这座桥的造型，就是以白海豚为原型，表达了我们对大自然的敬畏之心。通过我们的努力，让人与大自然可以和谐共处。 现在我们经过的第3座航道桥——青洲航道桥，它高163米，是港珠澳大桥上最高的建筑。设计理念是源于中国结的造型，寓意着港珠澳大桥将香港、澳门以及大陆连接得更加紧密，3地同心，心灵相通。前方我们马上要进入海底隧道了，隧道上方的建筑是港珠澳大桥的西人工岛。 它主要承载着大桥的办公、养护、救援和桥面实时监控的功能。我们现在正在穿越的是港珠澳大桥的海底隧道，它全长6.7公里，最深处距离海面48米，是世界上唯一一条深埋沉管隧道。在此之前，设计建造施工完全没有经验可循，面对外国专家的偏价报价，我们没有办法接受，所以我们最终决定 争这口气，自力更生。于是我们在12海里外将沉管预制好，然后再把长180米、重8万吨的管橛浮运到这里安装。在正常情况下，每个月只能安装1节，而这样的沉管，我们一共安装了33节，中途还多次经历了机床异常回淤的情况。最终，我们用4年的时间做到了这件事情。 开出隧道，这里就是东人工岛，不远处就是飞机起降频繁的香港国际机场，另一侧是船舶密集通行的航道，有限高和通航双重要求。于是我们就把公路修到了海底，这就是我们迎着困难也要建造这段海底隧道的原因。到达这里，我们就已经走完了大桥主体工程的全部路段，前方便是香港。回首这9年，大桥建设的每一步，对我们来说都是第一步。我们用中国人自己的勇气和智慧去攻克了世界级难题，真心希望粤港澳3地人民对这座大桥感到满意。